The Kia Telluride and Mazda CX-90 are just about the best two choices that you can choose from in today's crowded SUV market. One is almost a Range Rover ripoff pretty much, and the other is a high-tech luxury lounge that drives like no other car in its segment. And with the Telluride's complete redesign for 2027, the question is, does the CX-90 still hold up? And which one actually deserves your hard-earned cash? Well, that's exactly what we'll find out today. So, let's jump right in. I mean, right off the bat, Kia seems to have went all out. The new grille is so big that it takes the entire upper half of the front end, with two distinct patterns depending on the model you get. The X-Pro gets a mesh of rectangles dotted around, while the rest of the lineup gets vertical slats with different thicknesses. The headlights are also new and extend down into the bumper with the Cybertooth DRL line and signature. Moving to the side, the silhouette is much more upright and angular, and those door handles now sit flush for a cleaner look. I do have one small niggle though. Right at the 12 o'clock position on the wheel arches, there is this weird little square mark that feels just out of place. It's less noticeable on the luxury trims with bigger wheels, but once you see it, you really can't unsee it. In terms of footprint, the Telluride has definitely grown. The wheelbase is up by 2.7 inches and it's over 2 inches longer overall. But around back, well, there is no way around it. It looks exactly like a Range Rover. Between the vertical taillights and the way the bumper corners slope, the resemblance is uncanny. There is even a character line under the logo that makes it look like a two-piece split tailgate, but it's actually just for show. As for Mazda, well, it's a Mazda, and no one is better at making something that's sporty, aggressive, yet elegant at the same time. The CX-90's platform makes for completely different proportions than the Telluride. The front end mixes Mazda's current shield grille with more squared-off headlights, all tastefully integrated into one coherent look. From the side, a long hood and short front overhang can make it seem longer and lower than the Kia, but it's mostly an illusion as both of their dimensions are within an inch of each other. The wheelbase, however, is longer by 6 inches. Tasteful amounts of chrome anchor the greenhouse and lower edges of the bottom of the doors, and depending on the trim, the wheel arches and side skirts are body-colored. Out back, the taillights are possibly the biggest departure from the current Mazda styling. Instead of the usual circular theme, the lighting elements are slim and stretched nearly to the central Mazda badge, definitely inspiring the newly unveiled 2026 CX-5 model. When it comes to looks, I think it's a no-brainer. The CX-90 has an absolutely sensational design, and I would go as far as to say it's the best-looking three-row SUV in its segment. Jumping inside, whatever you think of the Telluride's exterior, the cabin is less polarizing and arguably pretty good looking. While the old model featured a fairly attractive design, this generation is completely new with a more horizontal look. The two-tier design wraps around the driver and passenger with wood trim and ambient lighting embedded within it. They even used real metal accents here, which gives the whole space a much more premium feel. Another big change is infotainment. The old separate screens are now gone, replaced by a massive curved panoramic display that puts it right in line with the new Sportage with the same easy-to-use interface. You'll also notice a new twist-to-action shifter behind the steering wheel that opens up a ton of space in the center console and adds things like redesigned grab handles. But it's not perfect. One major downside are the climate controls. They are now tucked away in a bit of a blind spot behind the steering wheel, which feels like a step back from the old physical buttons. As for Mazda, honestly, the CX-90's interior is just in a class of its own, making a strong impression at a first glance, especially when you go up the range. Mazda is giving you leather as standard on almost everything except the base model, with some really nice Nappa leather options if you're looking at the higher trim levels. The low, wide dash has nice main panels that are upholstered and stitched, while the areas that you won't be interacting with as directly are covered in soft-touch plastics. The top-of-the-line Turbo S Premium Plus is generally on par with luxury brands with faux suede trims and, depending on the color scheme, quilted seating surfaces and real wood trim. I have to be honest though, the low trim levels don't quite have the same wow factor compared to the Telluride, which uses similar materials across the board. Another downside compared to the Kia, well, it's screen sizes. You will have to pay for the higher trims to get the big 12.3-inch displays for your instruments and infotainment. The base model sticks with a smaller 10.25-inch screen and some analog dials. Now, the graphics are clean and easy to read with both Apple CarPlay and Android Auto as standard, but don't expect a ton of customization. Again, the same goes for the cluster. The Telluride just offers more information than the one here. Now, let's talk about space. The new Telluride's wheelbase has been stretched by nearly 3 inches, and you can really feel it inside. Up front, you got tons of head and legroom, plus the seats are really supportive for those long hauls. Move into the second row, it's just as roomy, and the captain's chairs specifically are easily some of the best in the segment. Now, the third row, it's still a bit tight for tall adults, so maybe keep it for kids. As for the trunk, you get 22 cubic feet with all the seats up, pull that third row down and it jumps to about 49 cubes, and if you drop everything, you are looking at over 89 cubic feet of total cargo room. It's basically a van at this point. As we mentioned before, the CX-90's wheelbase is 6 inches longer than the Telluride, but this difference doesn't translate into cabin space. Up front, you've got plenty of room to stretch out vertically, but it does feel a little tighter around the knees and hips compared to the Kia. Move into the second row, it's a similar story with plenty of room with either a bench seat or a pair of captain's chairs. The third row though, it's really only for kids, and the Telluride space back here dwarfs it. And the story doesn't end there. The CX-90 just doesn't offer as much volume in its cargo area. Behind the third row, you are looking at just under 15 cubic feet. If you fold those seats down, that grows to 40. Drop everything and you are topped out at about 74 cubic feet. It's usable, but almost every competitor does better. When it comes to pricing, the 2027 Kia Telluride LX starts at $39,000 $190 for an 8-seater. But honestly, the mid-range EX is the sweet spot. For about $45,000, you are getting the best of the best. 20-inch alloys, heated and cooled seats, and that massive dual-screen setup. If you want to go all out, the top-tier X-Line Prestige will run you nearly $55,000. As for the CX-90, for as premium as it feels, the pricing is quite aggressive. The base Select trim starts at $39,000 and it comes standard with all-wheel drive. The one to go for, however, is the Premium Sport trim, and it comes with the larger 12.3-inch cluster and center touchscreen, heated and ventilated front seats, and a 12-speaker Bose sound system. 2 engine power levels are available, but the more powerful variant is only available with the 2 highest trims that can reach $58,000. When it comes to driving and handling, the 2027 Telluride ditches the V6 entirely for this gas standard model, swapping it for a 2.5-liter Turbo 4. Now, it's got slightly less horsepower at 274, but it's got way more get-up-and-go at 311 pound-feet of torque. This new engine replaces the old 3.8-liter V6, which really worked hard to get it going. And the good news is that this new engine is significantly more refined, and while it won't burn any rubber, it's far more effortless when getting up to speed. Then there is the big news, which is the hybrid, a 2.5-liter turbo hybrid system pushing 329 horsepower. It's actually targeting a massive 35 mpg highway. From the first few miles, the hybrid actually feels like the better drive, and it's quicker than the gas version and dead silent in the city. As for the CX-90, unlike the Telluride, it runs its engines lengthwise rather than sideways, and the all-wheel drive system mainly sends power to the rear. The base engine is a turbocharged 3.3-liter inline-six that makes 280 horsepower and 332 pound-feet of torque. Then there is the Turbo S variant that has a higher output, making 340 horsepower and 369 pound-feet of torque. This powertrain is just as smooth as you'd hope, and it has a deep throaty growl. Mid-range power and torque are plentiful with the quick spooling turbo. It's a bit of a shame, however, that it runs out of revs so quickly with redline at 6,500 RPM, because that's a really fun engine. Compared to the Telluride, the CX-90 really draws from its sporty sedan roots. Its rear-biased all-wheel drive and turbocharged inline-six in its 340 horsepower Turbo S variant delivers stronger punch and livelier handling. The steering is crisp, the chassis is eager, and the balance is just incredible. It's a rare 3-row SUV that enjoys being pushed hard through corners, and it's especially for those who want more than just a family hauler. So, which one should you choose? Well, I think it's really simple. If all you need is space inside, then the Telluride is a really good buy, especially at lower trim levels. But if you want something to really connect with that almost feels alive while still getting a great level of comfort and decent room, then nothing beats out the Mazda CX-90.